The rebuild is over for the Blazers, and now it is time to buy in. Let's get them back into the playoffs on this edition of The Nest. Hello everybody, welcome back to The Nest Star XP. My name is Rob and welcoming you back as we continue to get through each NBA team as we rebuild them, and I'm rocking and rolling with these. I am pushing because I got some summer plans and I want to get as many of these out, especially before the lottery, as I can. So going through them. So couple of these at this point might start to get outdated in a couple weeks, but just bear with me. Make sure you check out, or it'll be on this side, check out where the little timestamp is of when this was recorded, because some of the information might be outdated at this point. Just letting you know. But regardless, before we get into the Blazers, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, make sure to check out the TikTok, the Instagram, all that stuff as I continue to cover the NBA playoffs. We're going to Game 7 in the Western Conference Finals, baby. That shows you how outdated this may be. But make sure to go check out all that. Make sure to subscribe for more content. Go check out your team. If you're not a Blazers fan, go find your team in the playlist. So the Blazers I had a little bit of fun with because there's not a lot that I think the Blazers need to do. A couple of things are just getting healthy. A couple other things are just maybe fine-tuning. Getting a full-time head coach is good. It's going to be very good, even though it may be a cheap head coach because of the whole drama with their new governor or their new owner or whatever. Regardless of all that, just a couple tweaks and a couple small changes to help improve their roster, I think, is all they need, so this will be a relatively short rebuild. The first thing I went and did is I went and made a trade for Tyler Hero, because I think while the Heat are obviously looking to get rid of Tyler Hero, they said that the Heat and Tyler Hero are looking for a divorce. So going and getting him, I think, would be huge for them, because they really do need that legit second option alongside Denny Avdia. And I think Tyler Hero is kind of similar to Shadon Sharp in a way, similar bucket getter, not nearly as athletic by any means, but similar bucket getting, another stretch shooting guard typical player, and he can be a secondary creator as well. So I think he's a perfect fit along him, and he's not terribly expensive to get in the first place, so I think it's a good trade. So the trade will look something like this. So obviously the Trailblazers will acquire Tyler Hero, and the Heat will acquire the aforementioned Shadon Sharp, Chris Murray, Yang Henson, and then a 2029 first round pick via Boston. So like I said, extremely cheap. The Blazers don't have to give up any of their own picks in order to make this happen, and they get Tyler Hero, and the main thing they have to give up is Shadon Sharp and maybe Yang Henson, but I don't think Yang Henson's going to turn into anything. He may not be a bust, but he's a young talent that the Heat can use either way. So why give up on Shadon Sharp so early? Main thing is that he's just young. His contract's not amazing, and he's young. He's a little injury-riddled, and I think if you're the Blazers, you need to start putting assets towards more healthy players and giving up on Shadon Sharp just a little bit so that the Heat can maybe take advantage of him and his potential, because I think they could get a better use out of him. Because best case scenario, he turns into a really good player for the Heat. You still have Tyler Hero, who's also a really good player in his place. So it's just taking the safer option, in my opinion. The next thing that I did is I actually went and traded Jeremy Grant. Now, what I did, the main reason I did this is to kind of take his massive $34 million contract and split it into two slightly not great contracts by any means, but two contracts of two role players that would better fit, because I just think you need a little more consistent depth. And so the trade will look something like this. So the trade will look like the Bulls acquire Jeremy Grant, and then the Blazers will acquire Patrick Williams, Jalen Smith, and 2 second-round picks in order to take on Patrick Williams' contract. Now, again, Patrick Williams does not have a good contract. He's not an amazing player, but at the very least, he's a solid defender, a solid shooter. He can be a pretty solid backup 3 or 4 on this Blazers team, and he's here for the long term, and you can easily use his contract later on to trade with future first-round picks if you wanted to get a better maybe power forward or a better legit point guard or something like that in the future. So that's the main reason I made this trade, and obviously Jalen Smith, he's a solid player. He can be a solid backup 4 or 5 for you as well. And then you get 2 second-round picks out of it that we're going to be trading in a minute, and you'll see for who. So like I said, I'm going to be taking those 2 second-round picks that we just got from the... So now the next thing is I'm looking to try and get a very quality backup center for this team, and so I went and I tried and signed a trade for Jock Landale, who I think would be the perfect backup center for this team, and it's just a matter of figuring out what the sign and trade would look like. I don't think he's going to be terribly expensive, but if you want to get his bird rights and things like that, you can easily flip picks 38 and 56 for Jock Landale, and then you may have to give up a sign and trade with Cisco, Thibault, or Caleb Love, or you may have to do two of those in one of the picks. Some kind of combination of like that in order to get Jock Landale. And you may not even need to sign and trade that much. It can just be pick 38 or pick 56, and boom, you can get him straight up that way. And then you can re-sign one or two of those guys in order to get them back on your roster. Either way, probably two of those guys will remain on the roster, but unless it's Thibault, I don't know if any of them are going to be getting heavy minutes rotation. But other than that, yeah, that's about it. Just kind of keeping this roster, keeping it together for a little bit longer, letting some of the older guys like Drew Holiday expire in the future, and just continuing to develop and continuing to compete with this team. But this team will look something like this. So it depends on who you want to have running the point guard position, but for this instance, because he played very well in the playoffs, I have Scoot Henderson starting at point guard over Damian Lillard, but obviously you can have Damian Lillard start. Tyler Hero running the shooting guard position, Denny Avdia running the 3, Kamar running the 4, Donovan Clingan running the 5, and then off the bench, Damian Lillard or Scoot Henderson, whichever you prefer. At the point guard, Drew Holiday running shooting guard, Patrick Williams running the 3, Jalen Smith running the 4, and Jock Landale running the 5. And then whether you have, if you have Cisco or Thibault or Caleb Love left over from the sign and trade, if you have any of those guys, those would probably get some minutes as well. And that's the roster. This is still a very good team. You have a ton of length. You have a ton of good defensive personnel, and it's just a matter of can the offense be enough. And I think between Scoot Henderson, Damian Lillard, Denny Avdia, Tyler Hero, I think you have more than enough offense, and then between Donovan Clingan's absolute defensive masterclass plus Drew Holiday off the bench along with Kamara in the starting lineup, you have plenty of defense on that side as well. So this, I think, is a very, very good developed team. The only issue I can see them running into is, can Denny Avdia be that number one option? And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a fan of Denny Avdia. Not a fan at all. I do not believe that he can be that legit number one option on a championship caliber team. But the Blazers seem to think that he can be, and he might be in the future. But for now, I don't think so. But for this instance, he's going to attempt to be a number one option on a championship caliber roster, and that's just what you're going to have to see. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. The Blazers don't really need to make a lot of changes in my opinion, but do you think they need to make massive overhauls? Do you think Denny Avdia can lead this team as the number one option for the future and for now? Or should they sell high on him, like there was a hot take I made earlier in the season? Should they sell high on Denny Avdia and look to pivot to a different future star for them? Let me know in the comments down below. And once again, go check out all the other pages and things like that. I'm not going to go through them again, and make sure to check the timestamp to make sure this is not outdated in case this is coming out in a couple of weeks. But until then, y'all, peace.